Humans reached the destination before light could arrive, racing faster than anyone thought possible. A planet untouched and unseen by Earth awaited, full of mystery and wonder. Brave explorers faced danger, isolation, and the unknown to make history. Every step, every discovery proved human courage unstoppable. Subscribe now to follow their epic journey and witness history among the stars. Humans had always looked up at the stars with wonder, imagining what lay beyond the tiny blue planet they called home. Scientists and astronomers tirelessly scanned the skies, recording signals, mapping stars, and searching for worlds that might support life. It was during one of these long nights of observation that a faint anomaly appeared on the edge of a distant star system. Unlike anything they had seen before, it was a planet located in the perfect zone where water could exist and life could potentially survive. Immediately, excitement spread through the scientific community. Though not everyone believed the data at first, the readings were double-checked, satellites were redirected, and more advanced telescopes were aimed at the mysterious planet. As more information came in, it became clear that this world was not only habitable, but also untouched by intelligent life. Its surface showed vast oceans, mountains, and breathable atmosphere signs. The potential of this discovery electrified every human who heard about it. Despite the excitement, the question of reaching the planet remained. For centuries, humanity had dreamed of interstellar travel. But even the fastest spacecraft moved far too slowly to reach distant stars within a human lifetime. Ideas of warp drives and faster-than-light travel existed mostly in theory, dismissed as impossible or purely science fiction. Yet a group of brilliant engineers, physicists, and astronauts refused to accept those limits. They quietly gathered resources, designed experimental propulsion systems, and ran simulations in secrecy. Working late into the night, they tested concepts that could bend the traditional rules of physics. Each test brought small successes. Each failure taught lessons. They built confidence that humans could indeed reach this new world in a way no one had imagined. Governments and global organizations soon became aware of the project, but the team insisted on working independently. They believed that the scale and secrecy of the mission were critical to its success. Funding came from private investors and dedicated foundations, and soon, a small advanced spacecraft began to take shape. It was sleek, efficient, and unlike any ship humans had flown before, equipped with new propulsion engines, energy shields, and life support systems designed for years of travel, the craft was named Pioneer, symbolizing the first step of humans into uncharted space. Every detail mattered, from the navigation instruments to the sleeping quarters for the crew. Selecting the crew became one of the most challenging parts of the project. They needed humans who were not only skilled but adaptable, courageous, and capable of living in extreme isolation. Astronauts with experience in engineering, biology, astrophysics, and medicine were chosen. Alongside them were navigators, communication experts, and problem solvers who could think quickly in emergencies. Each person underwent rigorous training in simulated space conditions. Testing their physical and mental endurance, they practiced repairs in zero gravity, survival scenarios, and crisis management drills. The team grew close through shared challenges, forming bonds of trust and friendship essential for the long mission ahead. As the day of departure approached, tension mixed with excitement. News of the discovery and the upcoming mission reached the public, creating waves of hope, curiosity, and fear. The world watched as Pioneer prepared for launch, understanding that this journey could change humanity forever. On the launch day, the spacecraft stood tall on the platform, engines humming, ready to pierce the darkness of space. Cameras broadcast the moment to millions on Earth, and families of the crew held their breaths. Engineers gave final checks, ensuring everything was perfect. The astronauts entered the spacecraft, secured in their seats, their faces calm but eyes bright with anticipation. As the countdown began, every heart on Earth seemed to beat in rhythm with the engines. When the engines roared to life and the spacecraft lifted from the ground, it marked the first step of humans toward a world no one had ever visited. The journey ahead was unknown, filled with dangers, discoveries, and challenges. Yet for the first time, humans were not just imagining life among the stars. They were going to meet it, stand on a new world, and make history in a way that no one could forget. The discovery of the distant planet had sparked a revolution of hope, ingenuity, and courage, and the adventure of humanity's first interstellar mission had officially begun. Humans had found a new horizon, a place where the limits of imagination and science converged, and they were ready to take the leap. The dream of reaching another world was no longer just a story or a thought in a textbook. It was real, tangible, and just within their grasp. Every calculation, every test, every sleepless night of planning led to this exact moment, and nothing would ever be the same again. The crew chosen for the Pioneer mission was small, but extraordinary. Each member had trained for years, mastering skills in engineering, astrophysics, biology, navigation, and survival. They were not only experts in their fields, but also resilient, able to face isolation, danger, and uncertainty with calm determination. As they boarded the spacecraft, their families and friends waved, emotions mixed with pride and fear. The astronauts knew that once they left Earth, they might not return for decades, or perhaps ever. But the chance to reach an untouched world pushed them forward. Inside the spacecraft, every module had a purpose. The living quarters were compact but comfortable, with beds, workstations, and exercise equipment. Storage held food, water, and supplies sufficient for years. Advanced life support systems monitored oxygen, temperature, and radiation, ensuring survival in the harsh emptiness of space. The control room was filled with holographic displays and navigation panels, each interface designed for efficiency and quick decisions. The crew spent days familiarizing themselves with the ship, running simulations, practicing emergency procedures, and learning to operate systems that had never been tested in real conditions. Before leaving Earth's orbit, the crew participated in final briefings, discussing the mission objectives and potential challenges. They reviewed every detail of the journey, from calculating trajectories to identifying hazards like meteor showers and radiation belts. Each astronaut knew that the success of the mission depended not only on the ship, but also on their ability to adapt to unexpected problems. Trust in each other was essential, as they would spend years together in close quarters, relying on teamwork to survive and succeed. The launch sequence was intense. The countdown echoed through the control room and across the launch site. Every system was checked one last time, engines primed, fuel levels verified, and navigation systems aligned. The astronauts secured themselves into their seats, strapping in with a mixture of excitement and nervous energy. Earth below them was vibrant and alive, a reminder of everything they had left behind. Yet ahead lay the unknown, a distant planet waiting to be reached before light from it could even touch Earth. As the engines ignited, the Pioneer trembled with power, lifting off with a roar that shook the launch platform. The crew felt the pressure of acceleration pressing them into their seats, hearts pounding in rhythm with the rumble of the engines. The world watched as the spacecraft ascended, climbing higher until the atmosphere thinned and the blue sky faded to black. Every second took them farther from home and closer to the extraordinary destination that humanity had only dreamed about. Once in orbit, the crew conducted system checks, ensuring engines, communications, life support, and navigation were all functioning perfectly. Minor adjustments were made to the trajectory to account for gravitational influences and space debris. With every maneuver, confidence in the ship grew, and the crew began to settle into the routines of long-term space travel. They exercised, performed maintenance, studied the stars, and communicated brief messages back to Earth. Though signals were delayed by minutes, the world followed their progress with fascination, cheering their courage and celebrating the first steps of humans on a journey to a distant world. Leaving Earth's orbit marked the true beginning of the voyage. Beyond the protective atmosphere and magnetic fields, the astronauts faced the harshness of space. The sun's radiation, micrometeoroids, and the endless void were constant reminders of the dangers ahead. Yet, each challenge strengthened their resolve. The crew worked together, solving small problems quickly, supporting each other emotionally, and learning to find calm in isolation. Their conversations ranged from technical discussions to personal stories, laughter, and memories of home. Keeping their spirits high was as important as checking the spacecraft's instruments. The journey had only begun, but already the crew felt the weight of history on their shoulders. Every calculation, every training hour, every decision had led to this moment. They were pioneers, not just in name, but in action, moving toward a planet no human had seen, aiming to arrive before light from that world could reach Earth. The excitement of exploration mixed with the responsibility of representing all of humanity, and in every heartbeat they felt both fear and wonder. As the Pioneer sailed into deep space, the crew watched Earth shrink behind them, a fragile blue dot in the vast darkness. Ahead lay endless stars, uncharted territory, and the promise of a new world. The humans aboard the ship were ready, equipped with courage, intelligence, and the unbreakable spirit that had carried their species from the first steps on Earth to the stars themselves. The mission had truly begun, and nothing could turn them back now. As the Pioneer drifted deeper into space, the crew began to notice the strange effects of traveling at near-light speeds. Time, for them, moved differently than for people back on Earth. Days on the spacecraft felt like hours, while months passed for those still on the planet below. This phenomenon fascinated the scientists on board, but it also reminded them how isolated they truly were. They were moving faster than anything humanity had ever experienced. Yet signals from Earth were delayed, sometimes arriving hours or even days late, making communication a challenge. Life on the ship settled into a careful routine. Each astronaut had responsibilities that kept them busy and alert. Navigation officers plotted the course continuously. Engineers monitored propulsion systems, and scientists studied distant stars and cosmic phenomena. Even mundane tasks like exercising or maintaining equipment were vital, helping them stay healthy and focused while preventing the feeling of cabin fever. The crew quickly learned that cooperation and trust were their greatest tools. Every small decision could have serious consequences, and they relied on one another completely. During the journey, the vastness of space became both awe-inspiring and intimidating. Stars stretched in every direction, and nebulae glowed with colors no human had seen before. Yet there were dangers lurking in the silence. Solar flares sometimes sent intense bursts of radiation toward the spacecraft, threatening delicate electronics. Meteoroids passed dangerously close, requiring precise maneuvers to avoid damage. The crew practiced responding to emergencies daily, drilling in zero-gravity scenarios and troubleshooting failures before they could become serious. Every challenge strengthened their teamwork and sharpened their skills. Isolation tested their minds as much as their bodies. The endless darkness outside the spacecraft, the constant hum of machines, and the distance from everything familiar pressed on them. Some astronauts wrote journals, others shared stories or played music to stay connected to their emotions. Humor became a lifeline, with jokes and playful competitions keeping spirits high. At night, they would gather to look out at the stars, discussing what Earth must look like from afar, and imagining the planet they were racing to reach. These moments reminded them why they were there, giving hope and motivation. Scientific observations kept the crew busy and inspired. They discovered phenomena that no telescope on Earth could have captured. Pulsars pulsed in the distance, asteroid belts spun silently, and gas clouds drifted with strange colors. Every discovery was recorded, cataloged, and shared in detailed logs, each finding added to human knowledge, proving that even on a mission focused on survival, curiosity and learning were vital. The scientists felt a deep pride, knowing they were part of something larger than themselves, something that would be remembered for generations. As days turned into weeks, relativistic effects became more noticeable. The crew calculated that by the time they reached the new planet, years would have passed on Earth, but for them, the journey would feel like only a fraction of that time. This realization was both thrilling and sobering. They would witness history before anyone else, yet the delay meant that those they loved would age far faster than they would. Communication with Earth was limited to short bursts of messages, making every word precious. They understood the weight of their responsibility and the uniqueness of their experience. Despite the challenges, moments of wonder and beauty never ceased. The void of space, though empty, seemed alive with mystery. Aurora-like patterns danced across distant planets, and black holes warped light in ways that amazed even the most experienced scientists. Crew members took turns documenting everything with cameras, sensors, and written logs. Knowing that one day, humans on Earth would see what they had seen, feel the awe they had felt, and understand the courage it took to travel so far from home. Every breathtaking sight renewed their determination to succeed. Friendships deepened as they faced the unknown together. Trust, understanding, and shared humor became their lifeline. Conflicts arose occasionally but were resolved quickly, with every member committed to the mission above all else. They learned to anticipate each other's reactions, support each other emotionally, and share the burden of isolation. In this way, the crew became a family, bound not by blood but by shared purpose, facing the universe together. Time itself became an unusual companion, stretching and bending in ways no human had truly experienced. The crew measured moments in tasks completed, experiments conducted, and small celebrations of milestones reached. Each day brought progress. Each star they passed was a reminder of how far they had come. The knowledge that they were traveling faster than light itself carried a quiet thrill, a reminder that humanity had broken barriers no one thought possible, and that the destination, the untouched planet ahead, was within reach. Through every challenge, discovery, and quiet moment, the crew of Pioneer grew stronger, wiser, and more connected. They were explorers not just of space, but of time, emotion, and human potential. Each heartbeat, each calculation, each glance out the viewport brought them closer to the goal that had driven humanity's greatest minds for centuries. And in the endless black of the cosmos, they found both the fragility and the power of humans capable of reaching beyond imagination. The journey through space was never easy, and the crew of Pioneer quickly realized that the vast emptiness held many dangers. Radiation bursts from distant stars struck unexpectedly, causing alarms to blare in the control room. Engineers rushed to shield sensitive instruments, adjusting panels and recalibrating systems. The crew worked together calmly but urgently, knowing that even small errors could have catastrophic consequences. Every challenge tested their training, their focus, and their nerves, yet they faced each obstacle with determination and skill. Micrometeoroids posed another constant threat. Tiny fragments of rock traveled at unimaginable speeds, capable of piercing the hull if undetected. The navigation officers plotted evasive maneuvers, adjusting the ship's course slightly to avoid collisions. Engineers monitored impact sensors, ready to repair any damage. The crew practiced emergency drills multiple times a day, preparing for situations that might never come but could mean life or death if they did. These exercises built confidence, discipline, and teamwork, essential for surviving in the harsh reality of space. Mechanical failures tested their ingenuity. Systems designed for years of travel occasionally malfunctioned, forcing the crew to improvise solutions with limited resources. A cooling unit stopped working, threatening the engine, but quick thinking and careful adjustments restored it. A navigation sensor misread a star's position, and the team worked together to recalibrate it precisely. Every repair required collaboration, patience, and calm decision-making, teaching the crew lessons that no simulation could provide, and strengthening the bond between them. Isolation and the monotony of the journey added to the psychological challenges. Days blended into nights in the absence of natural light. The hum of machines, the quiet of space, and the knowledge that they were years away from Earth created stress. Some crew members felt the pressure more than others, yet support from teammates made all the difference. They shared stories, memories, and jokes, held small celebrations for mission milestones, and even created games to keep their minds sharp. Laughter became a tool for survival, as important as any technical skill. Amid the challenges, moments of beauty reminded them why they had undertaken this mission. Nebulae shimmered in brilliant colors, distant stars pulsed in steady rhythms, and planets spun silently in orbit. The crew took every opportunity to observe and record these sights, capturing images and data that would one day astonish humanity. Even in danger and stress, the majesty of space inspired awe and reinforced their sense of purpose. They were witnessing the universe in a way no human had before, and that knowledge fueled their determination. Communication with Earth remained a challenge. Signals were delayed by hours, sometimes days, and brief messages often required careful planning. The crew sent updates about their progress, experiments, and daily life, knowing that those words would travel slowly across the void. Back on Earth, scientists and families awaited responses, but the crew could only act in the moment. Their focus had to remain on the ship, the mission, and each other. As weeks passed, the distance grew, and the reality of self-reliance became increasingly clear. Every obstacle was also a lesson in human ingenuity. They learned to adapt quickly, to trust their instincts, and to use creativity to solve unprecedented problems. The engines, shields, life support, and navigation systems were pushed to their limits, and the crew responded with solutions that combined knowledge, intuition, and teamwork. Every successful repair reinforced their confidence, and every close call reminded them of the fragile line between success and disaster. Yet, despite the constant risks, the crew remained resolute, determined to continue toward the distant, untouched world. The psychological and physical endurance of the team became a central part of survival. They took turns monitoring systems, resting, exercising, and conducting experiments. Maintaining routines helped stabilize morale and focus. They discussed strategies for upcoming challenges, shared insights from observations, and supported each other through moments of doubt or fatigue. Their reliance on teamwork and trust grew stronger every day, turning the group into a tightly bonded unit, capable of facing the unknown together. Even in the face of danger, the crew never lost sight of their goal. Every problem solved, every storm survived, brought them one step closer to the distant planet. They celebrated small victories privately, knowing that the ultimate success depended on perseverance, courage, and collaboration. Each day in space was a testament to human resilience, intelligence, and determination, showing that no matter how harsh the universe might be, humans could rise to meet it. Through radiation, mechanical failures, micrometeoroids, and the mental strain of isolation, the crew grew stronger, wiser, and more united. Each challenge was a story of courage and ingenuity. Every obstacle overcame a proof that humans were capable of achieving what had once seemed impossible. And as they sailed deeper into the cosmos, the team knew that the distant world awaited them, untouched and unobserved, ready for humans to arrive before light itself could reach back to Earth. As the Pioneer moved closer to its destination, the crew realized something astonishing. Light from the distant planet had not yet reached Earth. Yet, thanks to their faster-than-light propulsion, they were on the verge of arriving before anyone on the home planet even knew the planet existed. This realization filled the team with a mixture of awe, excitement, and pressure. They were about to make history in a way no human had ever imagined. A planet untouched and unseen by their fellow humans was waiting for them, and they would be the first to witness it. The navigation officers carefully monitored every calculation, adjusting trajectories with extreme precision. Even the slightest miscalculation could send the spacecraft off course by thousands of kilometers. The crew double-checked each system, cross-referenced every reading, and ran simulations to predict any possible problem. Despite their advanced technology, they knew that space travel was never completely predictable. Every day brought a new layer of tension as they raced against light itself. Yet each member felt exhilaration at the thought of reaching a world no human had touched. Discussions among the crew became filled with both technical and philosophical thoughts. They talked about the implications of arriving before Earth could even see the planet. How would humanity react when they finally received the delayed signal? What stories would be told about the first humans to reach an untouched world? Each thought inspired pride, curiosity, and responsibility. They understood that they were not just explorers, but messengers, pioneers, representing the potential of all humans. Their actions would echo through history long before anyone knew they had succeeded. Every observation they made added to the tension and excitement. Sensors and cameras recorded the planet's features, detecting vast oceans, sprawling landscapes, and an atmosphere perfect for human life. The crew could hardly contain their amazement as the data confirmed the planet's habitability. The planet was alive with possibilities, unspoiled by human influence, a world waiting to be explored, studied, and perhaps even inhabited. Yet the weight of responsibility reminded them to proceed carefully, preserving the integrity of their unprecedented discovery. The journey became a race against time in a way they had never experienced, not against other explorers, not against the clock on Earth, but against the very nature of light. The fact that they could arrive before the planet was even visible to Earth created a strange and thrilling sense of solitude. They were witnessing history in real time. a moment that would be recorded by them long before anyone else could see it. Each passing hour made the reality of their achievement more tangible and exhilarating. The crew felt the thrill of being truly alone at the frontier of human experience. As they approached the planet, they planned the first steps they would take, preparing landing procedures, mapping potential landing sites, and reviewing safety protocols. Their excitement was tempered by focus, as one misstep could ruin the mission or endanger their lives. They trained and practiced scenarios repeatedly, ensuring they were ready to touch down safely. Every detail was critical. Every decision had to be perfect. Emotion ran high among the astronauts. They shared quiet moments gazing at the planet from their observation windows, marveling at its untouched beauty. Conversations drifted from technical details to dreams of exploration, imagining the first footprints on alien soil. These reflections strengthened their bond, reminding them that they were part of something greater than themselves, a mission that could redefine what humanity was capable of achieving. As the spacecraft entered the planet's gravitational influence, the crew felt a surge of excitement and tension. Systems were checked for landing readiness, engines prepared for controlled descent, and instruments monitored every variable. The planet below looked both familiar and alien. Its oceans sparkled under distant starlight, mountains rose majestically, and valleys stretched endlessly. They were about to make a step no human had ever made, arriving before the first light of their achievement could even be seen from Earth. In the final hours before arrival, the crew reflected on the significance of what they were about to do. They were not just breaking physical limits, but also redefining humanity's understanding of exploration and time. Every challenge they had faced, every calculation and repair, every moment of isolation had led them to this point. They were about to claim a moment of triumph that was entirely their own, yet shared with the entire human race, even if the world would not know for years. As Pioneer descended toward the planet, the excitement was palpable. The crew felt history unfolding beneath them. The achievement of arriving before the light could reach Earth was almost surreal. They had done what no one thought possible. Combining courage, intelligence, and perseverance, humanity's reach had extended beyond observation into real, tangible presence on a distant world. And in that moment, the team knew they were part of something far greater than themselves, something that would inspire generations to come. The moment the Pioneer broke through the planet's atmosphere, the crew was filled with awe. The view from the observation windows was unlike anything they had imagined. Vast oceans stretched beneath them, reflecting the distant light of their sun. Mountains rose sharply, their peaks dusted with clouds, and endless plains spread out like a green carpet. The air was breathable. The sensors confirmed it instantly, and a sense of calm mixed with excitement swept over everyone. They were the first humans to set eyes on this untouched world, a place no one had ever seen before. Landing procedures were tense but precise. The crew carefully guided the spacecraft toward a smooth plain near a freshwater lake. Engines roared and adjusted constantly to maintain balance, and every crew member monitored multiple systems at once. Their training paid off as Pioneer touched down gently, the hull settling on the soft ground without a single scrape or malfunction. Cheers erupted inside the spacecraft, a mixture of relief, joy, and triumph. The crew hugged, laughed, and exchanged excited words, knowing they had just completed what might be the greatest achievement in human history. Once the engines powered down, the crew prepared to leave the spacecraft. Suited in protective gear designed for long-term planetary exploration, they opened the airlock and stepped onto solid ground. The surface felt strange yet familiar under their boots, soft soil mixed with minerals. The first footprints were carefully placed, a symbolic act marking the beginning of humanity's presence on the planet. Cameras captured every moment, recording their steps, gestures, and reactions. This was a moment that would remain forever in human memory, even if it would take years for Earth to see it. Exploration began immediately. Each crew member had a task: collecting samples of soil, water, and plants, observing the terrain, documenting the ecosystem, and recording environmental conditions. The planet was alive with subtle signs of life, from tiny insects to birds or bird-like creatures, and every discovery was meticulously logged. The scientists marveled at the purity of the ecosystem, untouched by pollution or human influence. It was a laboratory of life, a natural world frozen in time, waiting to be studied, preserved, and understood. The landscape offered endless fascination. Mountains carved sharp silhouettes against the sky. Waterfalls cascaded into lakes, forests stretched as far as the eye could see, and rivers wound through valleys like silver ribbons. The crew took careful notes, sketches, and photographs, documenting each feature for Earth's eventual knowledge. Their excitement was mingled with respect, understanding that they were guests in a pristine world, and every step had to be thoughtful to avoid disturbing the delicate balance of the environment. Even daily tasks felt extraordinary. Eating and drinking in this alien world carried a special weight. Exercise routines included exploring nearby hills and forests, maintaining physical health while also expanding knowledge of the planet. Every experiment was a first, every observation a discovery. The crew felt the thrill of being explorers, scientists, and historians all at once, documenting a planet that no human eyes had ever seen. They were writing a chapter of human history with every breath, step, and action. As they planted flags and recorded their presence, a quiet pride settled over the crew. They had achieved something beyond imagination, reaching a world before light from it could even reach Earth. Their mission was more than a technical success. It was proof of human courage, intelligence, and perseverance. This planet was a testament to what humanity could achieve when curiosity and determination met. They walked together along the shores of lakes, climbed small hills, and marveled at the skies, realizing that this moment was theirs alone, a private triumph in the vast universe. Evenings on the planet were mesmerizing. The sun dipped behind distant mountains, casting golden light across forests and plains. Stars emerged in the alien sky, and the vastness of space felt even more real. The crew gathered to discuss the day's findings, sharing thoughts, observations, and dreams of what lay ahead. Each member felt a deep connection to the planet, as well as to one another. The shared experience created bonds that went beyond friendship, forming a team united by history, discovery, and wonder. Every day on the planet was both work and adventure. The crew carefully explored, recorded, and preserved, while also savoring the extraordinary privilege of being the first humans to set foot on another world. They planted seeds for future exploration, built temporary shelters, and experimented with ways to survive long-term if needed. Each decision balanced safety, curiosity, and the desire to leave the world as untouched as possible. Their footsteps marked history, but their actions respected the planet's natural state. By the end of the first week, the crew had a rhythm, alternating exploration, research, and rest. They were pioneers in the truest sense, discovering a world that no human had ever seen, experiencing beauty, danger, and wonder all at once. Every observation, every sample, every note was a gift for the generations of humans who would one day learn about this distant planet. Even before Earth knew of its existence, the crew had arrived, explored, and begun the long story of humanity's expansion into the stars. After days of exploring the new planet, the crew of Pioneer turned their attention to sending a message back to Earth. They knew that any communication would take years to arrive, yet they wanted to share their discoveries, their experiences, and the incredible fact that humans had reached this world before its light could ever be seen from home. Carefully, they began recording every detail, describing the landscape, the atmosphere, the untouched ecosystems, and the emotions they felt as the first humans to walk on alien soil. Each message was crafted to capture not just facts, but the wonder and excitement of exploration. The astronauts spoke directly to humanity, imagining the faces of those who would one day receive the messages. They described the vast oceans that shimmered under the distant sun, the mountains that rose majestically, and the forests alive with life that had never seen humans. They recounted the first steps taken, the planting of flags, and the experiments conducted, conveying the significance of every action with pride and care. Even though they knew the messages would take years to be received, they wanted them to inspire, to teach, and to connect future generations with the courage it took to leave Earth and reach the stars. Each crew member contributed their perspective, adding personal reflections and emotions. Engineers explained the propulsion systems that made faster-than-light travel possible, highlighting humanity's ingenuity and perseverance. Scientists shared the astonishing discoveries of life, water, and climate, demonstrating the beauty and fragility of an untouched world. Navigators and explorers described the thrill of guiding the spacecraft through uncharted space, the calculations, the tension, and the ultimate satisfaction of success. Together, these messages became a collective testament to human achievement and determination. Preparing the transmissions required precision. The crew encoded their data carefully, using advanced systems to ensure that no information would be lost in the long journey across space. They recorded video logs, photographs, and written reports, every file meticulously organized. Each message included instructions for future explorers, noting important sites, potential dangers, and tips for studying the environment without causing harm. The crew understood that their work would serve as a guide and inspiration for those who would follow in their footsteps, ensuring that humanity's expansion into the stars would be safe, informed, and respectful. As they sent the first transmissions, the crew felt a mix of relief and anticipation. Knowing that no one on Earth would receive the message for years did not diminish their excitement. They imagined scientists, children, and dreamers finally learning of their journey, reading every word, seeing every image, and feeling the pride and wonder that had carried them across the void. The delay made the act even more symbolic, a demonstration that human curiosity and courage could transcend time and distance, that messages of achievement could survive the vast emptiness of space. While sending the transmissions, the crew also documented the personal side of the journey. The loneliness of isolation, the moments of fear when systems failed or hazards approached, and the small victories that kept them going. They spoke of friendship, trust, and the bond that grew stronger each day, sharing stories, laughter, and quiet conversations under the alien sky. These reflections were as important as scientific data, capturing the human experience in a way that would resonate for generations, showing that exploration was not just about discovery, but also about the people who dared to reach beyond the known. The crew took care to include messages of inspiration, encouraging those on Earth to continue dreaming and exploring. They emphasized that humanity's potential was limitless, that with courage, intelligence, and cooperation, humans could achieve what once seemed impossible. Every word carried hope, every image carried awe, and every recording carried a sense of purpose. They wanted those who received the messages to feel the same sense of wonder and determination that had guided them across the stars, inspiring future explorers to reach even farther. Even as they focused on communication, the crew continued their work on the planet, balancing exploration and documentation with the task of sending messages. They explored new regions, tested equipment, and studied ecosystems, while simultaneously preparing more detailed reports for Earth. This dual focus kept their minds sharp and their spirits high, reminding them that they were both witnesses and messengers, observers of a world that no human had ever seen, and chroniclers of humanity's first steps beyond light itself. By the end of the first month, the transmissions were complete, each message carefully constructed to record history, share knowledge, and capture the emotions of the journey. The crew felt a profound sense of accomplishment, knowing that they had created a bridge between themselves and the future generations of humans on Earth. Even though the planet's light would reach Earth years later, their words, images, and observations had already begun their slow journey across space, carrying the story of courage, discovery, and hope to those who would one day read, watch, and feel the legacy of humanity's first interstellar mission. The act of sending messages became more than a technical task. It was a symbolic gesture, a declaration that humans had arrived, that they had endured, explored, and reached farther than anyone thought possible. And as the crew watched their signals disappear into the void, they felt a quiet pride, knowing that the story of their journey would one day inspire humanity to look up at the stars with new hope, determination, and wonder. The Pioneer crew had settled into life on the distant planet, each day filled with exploration, study, and the quiet joy of being the first humans to walk on untouched soil. They had learned to navigate the terrain, build temporary shelters, and adapt to the new environment. Every discovery, from unique plants to flowing rivers, reinforced the wonder of being on a world no human had ever seen. Their routines balanced survival, research, and reflection, and each member felt the weight and privilege of their extraordinary journey. Even as they adapted to their new home, the crew remained deeply aware of their connection to Earth. They had sent messages, knowing it would take years for humans to receive them. Yet the idea that their experiences, discoveries, and triumphs would one day inspire countless people gave them purpose. Each step they took on the planet was not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. They were the first chapter in a story that would unfold long after they were gone. Exploration became both a duty and a joy. The crew mapped mountains, measured river currents, and cataloged every living organism they encountered. They tested soil for minerals, analyzed water quality, and studied atmospheric conditions. Every experiment was recorded meticulously, ensuring that the knowledge they gathered would benefit future explorers and scientists. Even the smallest observation, such as the way sunlight reflected on alien leaves or the patterns of clouds in the sky, was carefully documented. Knowing that no human had ever witnessed these details added excitement and reverence to each task. The crew also focused on building infrastructure for long-term survival. They constructed temporary living quarters, designed systems for water collection, and experimented with ways to grow food on the planet. Every project required ingenuity, careful planning, and cooperation. As engineers repaired equipment and biologists studied local flora, the crew discovered that humans could not only survive but thrive in this new world. The sense of accomplishment was profound, as they realized they were laying the foundation for humanity's future among the stars. Daily life carried a mix of routine and discovery. Mornings were often spent on observation and exploration, afternoons on research and equipment maintenance, and evenings on reflection and sharing findings. The crew held small gatherings to discuss their experiences, to laugh, and to support one another through moments of stress or fatigue. These moments strengthened their bonds, creating a team that functioned as a family, united by purpose, adventure, and the shared experience of being the first humans on another world. The planet itself became a teacher, revealing its rhythms, dangers, and beauty. Sudden storms tested the crew's preparedness, rivers shifted unexpectedly, and some terrain proved more challenging than predicted. Yet these challenges brought valuable lessons, forcing adaptation, creativity, and resilience. The astronauts learned to respect the planet, to move carefully, and to observe attentively, understanding that their presence had a delicate impact on the environment. Each challenge reinforced their role as both explorers and stewards, responsible for documenting and preserving this untouched world. As months passed, the crew reflected on the significance of their achievement. They had reached a planet before its light could be seen from Earth. They had survived the perils of space travel, isolation, and unknown terrain, and they had laid the groundwork for humanity's expansion into the cosmos. Pride and humility coexisted, as they realized how extraordinary their journey truly was. Yet they also understood that their work was only the beginning, and that the legacy of Pioneer would guide countless others in the centuries to come. The crew maintained their communications with Earth, sending detailed updates and observations. They included practical guidance for future explorers, warnings about hazards, and descriptions of the planet's remarkable features. Even though the messages would arrive years later, the act of sending them strengthened the sense of connection between the distant world and humanity's home. The crew knew they were bridging time and space, carrying the story of human courage, ingenuity, and exploration into the future. Every day, the crew experienced the beauty, mystery, and challenges of the planet, and every night, they gazed at the stars, realizing that humanity's reach had extended farther than anyone had imagined. They celebrated milestones quietly but meaningfully, noting discoveries, mapping terrain, and testing new equipment. Each action, each observation, each shared moment was a step toward making the planet not only a destination, but a new beginning for humans. Their presence there was a promise that humanity could thrive beyond the boundaries of Earth. Ultimately, the Pioneer crew understood that they were part of something timeless, a story that would inspire generations. They had arrived, explored, documented, and begun to create a home on a world no human had ever touched. They had proven that human determination, intelligence, and courage could achieve the impossible. Even before the rest of humanity knew, they had written a chapter in history, a chapter of exploration, discovery, and hope, showing that humans could reach beyond the stars, endure the unknown, and leave a lasting legacy among the universe.